Today we have Jeya, who's going to be joining us from Business Porters. We're going to be asking him, drilling him a lot of questions, and finding out the mindset of what he does over at Business Porters. Let's hit that intro.
Let's go.
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
I don't know what happened, I just had to pick the wrong one. There we go. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Jay. How you guys doing this morning?
Morning.
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Hey, good morning, Lisa. How are you?
Morning, Lisa. So today, like we said, we have Jeya, who is the president and CSO of Business Porters Incorporated. They're an asset-based transportation vendor out of Canada, with many offices over Canada as well, focusing on finding customer solutions. Thanks so much for coming on this morning, Jeya. How are you doing this morning?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Good.
It's a typical.
So let's get into it. I know we're a couple of minutes late, and everybody's kind of been waiting for us. But let's hear about your mindset in terms of how did you basically go from what's your journey essentially in the logistics industry to where you're at right now?
So I started off as a regular sales agent not too long ago. Eventually, hitting the phones, getting customers, cradle to grave. So booking my own loads, booking my admin stuff. Eventually transitioned over to having my own team. It was pretty much running point for all of them to be successful. And then eventually we got me and my two partners got together and formulated an asset-based company.
Nice.
Again, here it's one story here, but we started off with one truck, and we eventually grew to about 50 and growing, primarily focusing on reefer freight.
Great, man. That's awesome. And do you primarily stay up in Canada, or do you do the 48 states as well?
We do Canada, we do the 48 states, and we go all the way down to Mexico.
Awesome. And how long have you been in business now on the asset side?
So in business, we've been only for 3 years.
Okay. What kind of problems do you see on the customer shipping side when your drivers go in to pick up freight? What kind of problems are you seeing on that side?
So when my drivers go in, there's two sides of the story. Sometimes we got guys that are going to go pick up milk in their flip-flops, their shorts, thinking it's a holiday. Whereas the customer sending us emails saying, what is this? Like, there's no PPE. Over the pandemic stages, everyone had to be, come with the equipment, the safety vest, the hard shoes, the nose cap. But that's only, nowadays, I see it's only practiced by city drivers and not by over-the-road long haul drivers. So, which is an issue with the market being where it is right now, and long haul drivers are getting used as city drivers. They're not following protocol. So it's like it's usually. And it's now the market is driven by the drivers, so you don't want to go too harsh on them because they will just leave. So it's more of a safety compliance, the driver recruiters and all that stuff. They have to take care of this. They have to be very more aggressive in taking care of them.
And what kind of problems are you seeing at the shipper side? Like when you go in there to go pick up freight, what are the main issues that your drivers are facing?
Most of them is waiting times, most of the wrong POs, it's things like that, right? It's very minuscule, but it's a lot of weight to get it recovered. I guess they have to go through the different channels, getting the right information. They don't want to load us with the wrong product and so on and so forth. But it's ideally mostly waiting times and the communication between shipper, either broker or shipper, and the sales agent.
Right. So what would help you out as an asset-based carrier to help your shippers that you do business with?
Well, the sales agents or the brokers have to cross their T's and dot their I's when sending a tender. Usually we say this and we preach this all the time, but this is we're in vague territory, right? So it's hit or miss. Like, even though you preach it so many different times, they're still going to get it wrong. And I've been in the business for a while now, and I've never seen it change. Like it's just always that's something that you have to incorporate with while you're picking up a load for a broker or a sales agent.
And how would that make you uh, how would it make you a better company if you and your customers were both in compliance? How would that benefit your shippers and benefit you as a service provider?
Like if we're all on the same page, like right, so we send them SOPs, please follow this, but it's usually with the high turnover rate on both sides, the processes just fall off, right? You implement this for 2 3 months, and then again someone leaves the company, or someone here, our driver manager, or the ones that deal with giving the tenders over to the drivers, and one of them leave, the process starts back up again, right? So even if you constantly implement these strategies, it's a never-ending cycle.
Gotcha. Now you mentioned something about dotting the I's and crossing the T's. What do you mean by that? What are you looking for?
Everybody doing their due diligence, right? When sending a tender over, yeah, it could be it could be one tender or the same tender numerous times of 5 trucks going in, but it just the information has to be correct. Even if one PO number is wrong, you're just going to cause a huge pileup, right? It's not just only for our team that's going in there; it's for the teams that are coming in for later times, later slots that have a pickup or delivery appointment.
And if your customers, shippers said, "Hey, I'd love to have you come in. Let's have a sit down. Let's discuss." Would that be beneficial to you as far as you learning more about the customer and the customer learning more about your operation?
Yes, for sure. So we have opportunities like that has come in the past when we fly over. We have a sit down to make the operation seamless. So we'll take our operations manager, they'll bring their op team and have that sit down where how we can mitigate all these issues going forward, and how we can make this seamless as possible, right? But
Yep.
once a corporation is they have 100 doctors, things
Yep.
like that, it gets very difficult. You could implement policies, SOPs on a with 5 docs, 6 docs, whatever the case may be. They're only pushing out 10, 15 loads a day. But once you see when you're working with a shipper, for example, like a Walmart or a Costco, these things to implement, you have to have a lot of people on board, right? It's just that me or 2 people cannot be the face trying to implement a new procedure.
Right.
Makes
And
sense.
do you find that when you're dealing with a shipper that all their facilities are like a mirror image, or do they kind of operate on an island by themselves?
Shippers, some of them are really great, some of them are really terrible, right? It's just that again, for sales agents that are in the industry, they want to stick with the shipper regardless. They don't want to lose a customer just based on the waiting times, right? But some of them are really good. I'm not going to say names, but some of them are really good, and some of them are really bad. There's a lot of friction, I shall say, right?
Right. And how much does that cost you as an asset based carrier when things aren't going your way and that you're not seeing eye to eye with your shippers? And like you said, you're sitting there for hours on end. What does it cost an asset based carrier when things like that happen?
So what I've noticed in the last 6 months, statistic wise, is when the trucks were short, there's a lot of truckers that were short. These shippers were paying out of the yin yang just to keep us at the doors because they don't want our drivers leaving. Market over the past few months has shifted. Now it's a shipper's market. They dictate everything. So even if you start giving them ideas saying that you're going to leave, they don't care. They'll have someone in minutes just because of how the market is, right? How we as asset-based carrier has dictated the market of the last 2 years based on the pricing, and it's our way or the highway. I think rules have changed now. Now they dictate the market. They have an influx of carriers that are coming on, calling them every day. Drivers willing to take a pay cut or willing to go less on a mile than the average price right now. So it's their game right now. So we have me keeping the customer is more of a priority than me going out of pocket and paying my driver.
Right, right. So you basically would agree that there's no loyalty whatsoever on the shipper side, correct?
It's very cutthroat.
Right, right. So what happens if they did? What happens if the shipper did have that loyalty and wanted to work with you? How would that benefit the shipper?
What do you mean? So if the shipper,
Right, they want to work with you. They want to understand your operations. They want to understand the downfalls, the pitfalls that you're going through, how they can work with you to make your lives a lot better. How would that benefit as a customer as far as monetary value? What would that value be to them if they were in congruent with you, as they saw eye to eye, they understand your operations and were willing to help you out?
so usually in these circumstances, the shipper already has a procedure. They already say, you know what, it's going to be a 3 hour wait time, something like that of that nature, or they would also compensate us at the end of pickup and waiting times. That's in terms of monetary value. Whereas you go to a different customer, one would say that no, these are the standard. This is standard protocol. We're really busy. You take it or leave it, or I'll find someone else. So with the ones that are loyal, they'll compensate you because of service. This industry is based on communication and service. If you base it on that, you're gonna have a longevity with XYZ customer, right? But there's also shippers that don't care, and it's either you have to go out of your pocket and see how much you can last by going out of pocket to protect your drivers, because drivers need to get paid regardless of
Sure.
whatever the scenario is, right? So it's in that situation, it's me seeing statistics. Is this customer worth it in the long run, right?
It's perfect. And just kind of coming back like a little bit to business portals, because like all that is gold nuggets, man. Because everyone who's watching this show, they can take that with that information, replay it, and actually go to shippers and say, hey, this is what an actual carrier is actually facing right now. How can we resolve this? When it comes to like business porters incorporated itself, is there any kind of like success stories that you can share with us? Because I know you guys are somewhat kind of new, but like it's kind of like new territory as well. Is there anything that you can share with us and the viewers to kind of give them a little bit of insight?
So we started pre-pandemic. We started 3 years ago when it's we're very hard for new guys to come on in. Again, we started 2 years ago, just making just under $2 million of revenue. Now we're in year 3. We're just passing the 60 million mark. So,
Nice.
and my incumbents are going down or getting bought out. I feel me and my team feel proud. We worked endless nights to make this happen, right? And now we just want to finally reap the rewards.
So why do you feel like like everything's kind of going up for you guys from that aspect?
When you're new and in the pandemic stages, no one wants to work with you. No, you have to build a repertoire. You need to have rapport, right? I could say, or we could say collectively, we bring 50, 60 years of logistics experience. But at the end of the day, you have a brand new MC and you're into the game, right? So it depends on relationships. This industry is all on relationships. Without my relationships that me and my team built over the years and transition over to business porters, this would never have been possible, right? So I'm really happy where we are and where we're trending, and the future looks bright.
Dan's actually, good morning, Dan. I hope you're doing well, buddy.
Morning, Dan.
Hopefully we're doing a good job, Dan has a question for you, maybe a little late to the party, but what is the number one thing, Jay, that you do to retain drivers, and why?
So right now, when I first started, getting drivers was difficult. No one would want to work. There's no lanes. It's all spot market. All the sales individuals had awkward lanes where you can even build a good triangle or back and forth for them. Now we have dedicated lanes. So we have drivers that come in. Hey Jay, I want to go here to California back. Nothing. They don't ask any questions. They just give their resume. They just sign up they're on the next load.
Yeah, Nigel has a question here, and it's just a thought. He says it's really important to set your expectations with the customer. Sell premium service, premium price, talk value, or otherwise you only have the price to talk about. If they don't want to walk this way, find others that will. It's not. If not, it's just a downward spiral of service. Absolutely, Nigel. Thank you.
And don't devalue yourself, right? Because like you guys have
No.
obviously been successful in this time that we have here. We're actually, speaking of lanes, we're actually going to get into our dad lane of the day. We've actually sent some thanks over to the great folks over there. So let's hit that. So the lane today is going to be from Chicago, Illinois to Columbus, Ohio. It's going to be for reefer. The line haul RPM is 445 a mile. All in with fuel is going to be 515. Contract is looking a little bit about 20 cents over at 537, as well as 60 cents looking trending. And rates are looking to start to rise on this lane. So if you got Chicago to Columbus, it's definitely a good lane to kind of take a look at right now. There, just coming back to it. So Jeya, just tell us a little bit more. As you kind of said, like you guys have growth. What is your sales? Do you currently have like a sales force on your own, under business porters, for yourself, kind of looking to procure business? What can you tell us a little bit more of your team size, and what are you guys kind of like looking for in terms of when you're kind of speaking to these sales reps on your team?
So every logistics company, every every brokerage, every logistics company, or every asset-based division focuses primarily on sales. I want to take a different twist on this, put more operationals, because getting sales is one thing, but sustaining the business is a different thing. In order to survive in this business, operation is key. So my team is more operation friendly than the sales. I have a team of 6 sales. I have a team of 20 operations, right? So it's and also I put stress on the administrative work, whereas the tenders, the PODs, the BOLs, that stuff is very crucial to my business. I focus on that more than sales coming in. I'd rather retain my existing business than go after more and lose everything, right? So that's my safe approach when it comes to increasing my revenue for the business, butterflying existing accounts, so on and so forth. I got people messaging me saying that my accounting system is very good, right? So that's what I take pride in. Sales comes, over time. I'm not going to go, all in crazy where I can't service customers. So we're based out of, so we have offices in PEI, we have offices in Ontario, we have an office in Calgary. My sales agents are spread out across Canada.
Nice.
They work remotely. I gradually bring people on as soon as I know I could bring on another 3-4 operations to sustain the business.
That's awesome. And I think Dan has a follow-up question to thing here. So number one thing for you is for dedicated lanes is to retain drivers.
Yeah. So retaining drivers, dedicated lanes, consistent business. They know what type of paycheck they're bringing home. That's the most important thing, right?
Well, the other thing too, Jaden, is that when you have a specific driver on a specific lane, they're getting to know the customer. Right. They're getting to know that dock supervisor, and they start building a long-term business relationship, which is great for not just the shipper, but you as a carrier, because you're solidifying that relationship, right? And then they get to know how you operate, and then vice versa. And it becomes, like I said, a really good relationship and a lasting one. And that's very important. And that's why I like when I have lanes like that, I like to have the same driver on the same lane working it every week, because it's clockwork. And it definitely benefits both sides.
Yeah, the driver builds rapport with the team there. It's clockwork, right? So even if you're late by a few minutes, so on and so forth, you have that relationship there where, I say they can save your ass.
Yeah, pretty much. Definitely all the way. And likewise too. If there's a problem, they'll understand it because he now has that communication level with that individual, and then vice versa. If something comes up where they're not going to have a shipment that day or whatever, they can call him before he gets there to let him know, or your dispatcher. And those are the best kind of relationships to have, especially if you're moving high volume.
Yes, that's correct.
There. So just kind of come in, like we're kind of entering peak season. A lot of people kind of say it's like separation season. It's time for us to kind of put in the work. We only got a couple months until Christmas, everything like that. What are you and the team kind of like preparing either for like the end of the year and even going into like 2023? What are you guys kind of prepping, and what is that looking like?
So I don't know about, I'm not going to speak on behalf of everyone else, but I know the last 2 months have been slow. So what I preach to my sales team is always build your pipeline. The pipeline should never stop, right? So in the event even one customer goes down, or your whole book of business goes away, you have built that pipeline over the time that will get you over the hump, which is September, October, November, and half of December, because the other 2 weeks or the first week of January, no one's entitled to shipping unless you're shipping Christmas trees, right? So it's the next 2 months, whatever you have worked starting from February going up to August, those are the accounts that you should be ending up closing. And that will pay fruits of what you worked to close and bring on volume for September, October, November. Whereas December, it's usually I don't calculate December. I only go another month of the year because December is just very. It's frightening. It's a frightening month for sales.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I have the
Hey,
luxury of moving.
Jay, Dan has Dan just put a message out there. Says, by the way, Jay, you guys are killing it. You should pat yourself on the back. All greatness starts at the top. Way to go, pal. Happy for you, my brother.
I feel like Dan, like Jay slipped him a 20 or something like that, a little e-transfer before that to come on here.
Just keep it coming, Jay.
Just keep it coming. Yeah. So just for you, I know it's like you guys are like really young and everything like that, but you guys are obviously killing it. What kind of is this kind of something to kind of think about? But what kind of legacy are you kind of looking for yourself and even for business porters that you guys kind of looking to leave in the industry or even as a person, your personal and professional life?
So again, here. Average age span here at the business that I have is literally under 30.
Okay.
So we like obviously as a basketball team or a baseball team, I don't have a legendary, someone that's going to retire or someone that has in that experience where he comes in and brings the young guys up, right? Everyone relies heavily on me, right? So it's just that it's everyone just bounces ideas off each other. We're still young, so we have creative methods on how we can prospect and how we can close more business, right? In terms of legacy, like I said, I'm not there yet where I'm rocking on a chair thinking about my retirement because I'm still hungry. We're still about to close. But what I want to do is, I am a father to be, so I want to leave something.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I want to leave some sort of memorable experience where it's like dad is just not always doing sales, right? So give back to the community, something along those lines, right?
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's amazing. In terms of like, if somebody wants to kind of like get in contact with you, what's the best ways to get in contact either with business porters or get in touch with you personally?
I give my direct line to everybody. I have a work number, but for any person down the street, just top Deigan area, I give them my direct cell phone number.
That's awesome. And Dan actually made a comment here that it's $100 now, so you got to make sure that you set up that e-transfer. So just want to thank everybody for coming out this morning, and Jay, thank you again, brother, for reaching out with us and having a discussion because there's a lot of gold nuggets that I personally take in here that I'm probably gonna have conversations with as well. So I know I got value, I know Jeff got value, and all the viewers, I know you guys all got value. We will be replaying this again at 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock Eastern time on all the social media channels. Check us out on LinkedIn. Check us out on YouTube. We're not on Instagram yet. We're going to have to figure that one out, but we're on YouTube as well. From there, I'm good for there. Anything, Jeff, here before we kind of get the
thanks,
going?
Jay, and I appreciate your input on this, especially for our audience and the people who are watching this. I think it was great information and that they have some takeaway. Obviously, there's a lot more work to do to help you guys in the trucking industry, and that they have to start, taking care of the carriers that take care of them, because without you guys, product's not going to move and they're going to go out of business. So thank you for all that you do, and your drivers, and keep on trucking, my friend.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Jeff.
Yep, you got it. Have a great day, guys.
All right, take care, guys.
All right, bye.
Centurion Trucking, our motto is people before profit. Today's market requires more transparency, consistency, and focus on what our clients need to win. Centurion Trucking and American Logistics are poised to help their clients achieve and surpass their targets. If you're looking for a team that honors your needs, dreams, and aspirations, then get a hold of Daman at American Logistics or Centurion Trucking and start designing your career today.